They never found her body, but the screams still echo through the woods. The first time I heard the recording, I thought it was a prank. Static, rustling leaves, then whispers. Not words, not quite. Just syllables stitched together like something learning to speak. Lacey Monroe's last words were, "It's copying me." Then the screaming started. I arrived in Black Hollow a week after Lacey vanished. The town was a graveyard of boarded-up houses and wary eyes. The sheriff, a grizzled man named Hollis, refused to discuss the case. But the bartender at the Hollow's End slid me a napkin with a name, Ask Miriam. Miriam Cade was 93 years old, the last living descendant of Black Hollow's founders. She lived in a rotting Victorian at the edge of the woods. When I asked about the whispers, her milky eyes darkened. They've always been here. The first settlers heard them too, thought it was the wind. Then the children started going missing. She handed me a journal from 1887. The entry started normal. Weather, crops, births. Then abruptly, June 3rd, heard Sarah calling from the trees. Went out, wasn't Sarah. The next page was smeared with something brown and flaky. I set up camp where Lacey's backpack was found. The forest was too quiet. No crickets, no owls, just the creak of branches. At 3:17 a.m., my recorder picked it up. A voice, almost Lacey's, humming her favorite song. Then, "Elias, come find me." But Lacey had never met me. Miriam had mentioned a cave system beneath the hollow. "That's where they take them," she'd said. The entrance was hidden behind a waterfall, the rocks slick with something that smelled like copper. Inside, the walls were covered in handprints, some small, child-sized. And then I saw them. Dozens of figures crouched in the shadows. Their mouths moved, but the sound came from behind me. I ran. Branches lashed at my arms. The whispers grew louder, closer, until they were inside my head. Then silence. I woke up on the roadside, my clothes caked in mud. My recorder was gone, but in my pocket, a child's tooth, wrapped in a scrap of Lacey's shirt. The police called it a bear attack. The town erased Lacey's name from the missing persons database. But sometimes when the wind dies, I still hear it. A voice that isn't mine, whispering, "You're next." Would you have gone into those woods? Sometimes when the wind dies, I still hear it. A voice that isn't mine, whispering, "You're next." I should have left Black Hollow behind. But in the cave where the whispers led me, I found something else. A symbol carved into the stone. A circle with 3 slashes like claws through flesh. It matched the tattoo on a cultist's wrist in an old Interpol file. And that's how I got the tape. Now to the next scary story. This footage wasn't supposed to exist, but I watched every second. The tape arrived on my doorstep the day after I returned from Black Hollow. No postmark, no fingerprints, just 3 words scrawled in red ink. "Burn this, please." I should have listened. The video was shot in night vision. 6 robed figures stood in a circle, chanting. At the center, a woman strapped to a stone slab. Her chest rose and fell, alive. Then the chanting stopped. A blade flashed. The woman's scream cut off as the stone absorbed the blood. The camera shook. A hooded figure turned, and its face wasn't human. The last frame. A handprint on the lens. The fingers too long. The nails blackened. I traced the symbol on the robes to a defunct psychiatric hospital in Romania. Dr. Ion Petrov, the director, had been accused of experimental rituals in the 80s. The files were sealed until a whistleblower sent me a photo. a patient strapped to a bed. The walls behind her were covered in the same symbol. The caption, Subject 12, Resurrection Successful, Soul Retrieval Pending. I found Anna, the last living test subject, in a Bucharest asylum. She hadn't spoken in 30 years, but when I showed her the symbol, she grabbed my wrist and hissed, "They don't come back alone." That night, my hotel door rattled. Something scratched at the wood. When I opened it, the hallway was empty, except for a single black feather. A package arrived this morning. Inside, another tape. It shows a figure standing in my apartment, watching me sleep. The timestamp is tonight's date. I'm leaving the country, changing my name. But I can't stop wondering, what did they bring back? Now guess what is next? The black feather from Bucharest led me north, to a place where the snow never melts, and the trees grow so tall they block out the sky. A hunter named Jace Kovac sent me a letter last week. It contained a single Polaroid, a blurry figure standing in the Alaskan wilderness. Its limbs were too long, its joints bending in ways that made my stomach twist. The note read, "It's learning how to scream. Come before it finishes." Jace's cabin was empty when I arrived. The door had been ripped off its hinges from the inside. His last audio log played on a loop on the desk. It's mimicking the radio, but the station's been dead for years. Then a sound that wasn't human. The locals called it the White One, a thing that stalked trappers in the 1920s, leaving no footprints. But in 1987, a research team vanished near Dead Man's Pass. The only survivor, a biologist named Dr. Lorne, described it as a man-shaped void, absorbing the cold. I found his journal in an abandoned ranger station. The last entry, "It doesn't eat flesh, it eats warmth." That night, my thermometer dropped to -40 degrees Fahrenheit. My breath froze mid-air, and something scratched at the window. Jace's camera was still recording in the snow. The footage showed him running, his breath ragged, then a shadow flowing between the trees. The audio picked up a voice, his voice, but the lips didn't move. "You're gonna die out here, Elias." The screen cut to static. When it cleared, the thing was inches from the lens. I barely made it to the truck. The engine wouldn't start. The headlights flickered, and in the glow, I saw it. A pale figure standing in the road. Its mouth opened. And it screamed in Jace's voice. The authorities blamed hypothermia, said I imagined it. But I know what I saw. Would you have looked back? A missing persons poster in the truck's glove box. "Have you seen this man?" With Elias's own face. I don't remember posing for that photo, but the dates don't lie. The poster was printed 2 years ago. And the contact number? Disconnected. The only lead was a scribbled address. Room 217, the Lamplighter Motel. They found my DNA at a crime scene, but I've never been there. The motel was rotting, the air thick with mildew. Room 217's lock was broken. Inside, the walls were papered with news clippings, all about me. Journalists linked to cold case. Elias Vane, person of interest, and a Polaroid of me, sleep at my desk. Someone had been watching for years. In 2017, a college student named Daniel Brewer vanished near Black Hollow. His laptop was found in a ditch, playing a distorted voice recording. "Tell Elias, it's not them, it's him." The police ignored it, but Daniel's sister Mara kept digging. She sent me his journal before she disappeared. The last page, "They're not dead, they're replaced." Security footage from a gas station showed Daniel alive 3 days after his funeral. But his eyes were wrong. Black, shiny, like a doll's. Then I found the pattern. Lacey Monroe, story 1, was seen buying milk a week after she vanished. Dr. Petrov, story 2, was spotted in Moscow, decades after his death. All of them smiled the same way. Mara left a final clue: coordinates to an underground facility. The door was marked Project Mirror. Inside, a wall of screens showed live feeds of my apartment, my car, my childhood home, and a voice from the shadows. "We've been waiting for you, Elias." I burned the motel to the ground, but the files are still out there. How many of us are left? A glitching monitor in the facility displays a URL, d34thgrid.onion. The URL led me to a site that shouldn't exist. A chat log from 2006 popped up automatically. User: "They're harvesting us." Admin: "The grid is hungry." Then a live feed appeared, my own face staring back at me from an unknown location. I logged off, but the screen stayed on. The site was a maze of corrupted videos. One showed a man strapped to a chair, wires burrowed into his skull. His mouth moved in sync with my voice. "They're using us as antennas." Then the feed cut to a nursery. A child's voice whispered, "Elias, we see you." A hacker named Null contacted me. They'd traced the site to a defunct military program, Project D34TGR1D, an experiment in post-mortem communication. The goal? To broadcast the dead, but something answered instead. Null sent me a sound file, a 40 Hz frequency hidden in white noise. When I played it, my lights flickered. My reflection blinked. Then my phone rang. No caller ID, just breathing, and a voice that wasn't mine. "You're almost ready." Null's last message was a video. It showed me, older, hollow-eyed, standing in a room of corpses, all of them wired into the walls. The timestamp, next Thursday. I smashed my hard drive. But tonight, my TV turned on by itself. The screen reads, "Connection established." They say the deep web is a place. It's not. It's a throat.
If these stories crawled under your skin, if you felt the air grow colder as you listened, then you're already one of us. The real horror isn't in these tapes. It's in the silence after. The moment you realize you need to hear the next story. So hit subscribe now, because the next upload, it's already searching for you. And trust me, you don't want